I've read stuff. So no, I've read stuff. It's because so it injures the environment because there's not enough resources to feed the population of Earth, and
so that one more might tip it over the edge.
Well, that's why what's his name? Bill Gates wanted. He's saying that basically need to kill off at least half of the population to bring the numbers back to be able to cope with feeding.
Okay, so it says a Swedish study.
It's just like a giant Hunger Games or something.
Yeah.
Or Purge.
Yeah, that's what he said. It needs, which is probably the reason for COVID.
If they've done a purge,
so it says they will amplify global warming while others are
come
concerned
to
about
you.
extreme weather events that children may have to enjoy.
I wouldn't want to be here. That's not a nice world.
I was just saying, if they've done the thing, like they're trying it out, yeah, in your house, you can lock your house down, but obviously, you got people that don't like you might try to come kill you, people that's jealous of you.
Really? What's that? What movie are you on?
It's called The Purge.
I haven't watched it.
Right, should we start? Because we're talking.
Yeah.
Might as well start. You never seen The Purge? Have you seen The Purge?
No. What's The Purge?
The Purge is where they try to get rid of lower class and middle class people, where for one day.
Like that Justin Timberlake movie.
No, that was Time Out.
You know the movie
Time.
where
Out of Time. That's it.
Yeah.
No, Out of Time. That it's already.
Everyone has.
That was different.
Yeah, it's like in the future where everyone's got the time, but it's not. The Purge is basically where once a year. Yeah. It's legal to kill, steal, like everything goes.
What is this, a movie or program?
It's a movie called The Purge.
Is it like scary?
It depends what you consider scary.
Okay, go on.
So like your neighbours, all that. So everyone shuts down their house at a certain time, locks their doors, boards up the doors, whatever.
So everyone knows this is gonna happen.
Yeah. Protect yourself, I guess.
So there's a few of the movies. One shows like the first Purge when it happened, but the first film that I saw was like. You know, it's like it's been happening, whatever. So the alarm goes off like before sunset, and then everyone's rushing back home to get like board up the house and all that. But it shows like once the alarm goes, some people don't take part in it. Some people go out there, they steal, like they do whatever. They kill people. You can use anything apart from like army grade weapons. So you can't use like obviously bombs and things like that, but you can use guns, grenades,
like a nightmare.
Everything. So obviously homeless people they get killed because they have a shelter. Yeah. Like lower economy people that like imagine you live in a flat or a building like that. There's only so much protection you can do. So people are breaking down your doors, killing you, kidnapping people until the morning, and then the alarm goes off, and then.
So like people become psychopaths for one night and then they go back to their day job.
Yeah, it's like people.
So what do people get from that? You know, okay, so you go and kill your neighbour.
Outbursts like jealousy, like people. You drive a nice car, people might come after you. If people, you know, you've done something to some people.
And the purpose of it?
Yeah,
to cleanse obviously the population and things like that, and the economy.
Wouldn't it be easier for the government to just like have some gas that they spread over like
or COVID
impoverished areas and then wipe out everyone that way?
I don't know, it's the film, innit?
Yeah, it's a movie.
But I think they was actually talking about that. I think when Trump was in
well, I mean, there's been different. I know. I think it was. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention names, but there was one. I think it was Bill Gates. He's talked about the population being too large.
Yeah, he was behind the whole
COVID.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of his things was the population needs to be cut in half because there's too much, and the reason being there's too much people for the resources, i.e., what the earth can produce. You know, like fishing, because now they're overfishing, so it's killing. It's literally there's not enough food. To feed the volume of people.
But that's what Meghan and Harry said, isn't it? That they'll only have 2 kids to preserve the environment.
It doesn't really work if just 1 or 2 people are doing that.
But
then you've got other cultures that are like having them like they're rabbits.
Well, no, but I feel like it's like almost like become a trend now, and it's almost become trendy because I feel like I was even saying this to someone in the gym. I was with them, and I feel like my generation. So I'm 43. And so I feel like all of my group of like friends, it was kind of like 3 was like quite a lot of kids. And I feel like recently, or in recent, I would say the last year to 2 years, I feel like I'm seeing more and more people having more kids.
Yeah.
Like, so I follow quite a few people on Instagram where they like on 8, 10, 11
Wow.
kids.
Yeah.
And like, Dominic, you're expecting like you're not reserving the environment.
I'm preserving my name.
Kadisha's due in literally 2 weeks. You're on your 4th.
Yeah.
I haven't heard you say once that you are going to stop after 4. You said you're going to
For
have
any
a
in
break,
control of the matter.
and then you're going to have another one because you want your little girl. So you're going to have a minimum of 5 kids, possibly more.
Probably not.
Danny,
Maximum of 5. I think.
Danny's just about to give birth to her 4th, and she hasn't said that that's it. She's done. So I feel like, despite the climate and everything being in the worst position possible, I feel like for whatever reason, it's almost become popular again to have lots of children. You lot are having them back to back as well. It's not even like,
makes sense.
like I know so many people that are literally just having them back to back. Like 3's like almost like the minimum number nowadays.
I guess some people are like, let's get it all out the way.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what I mean? And then people are starting to have kids later. You know, like for me, I was 18.
You had me
when I got married.
31,
I was 31 and I was finished.
I was the youngest.
Yeah, I was done.
So I started at 31.
But then I had big age gaps, so I didn't need to do this back to back. So I think there was like 5.5 years between you and your first one, and then the closest gap was you and Danny, which was like 2 years, and then it was like 5 years,
5.5 with me.
5.5 again. So I had big age gaps, but then I started having a family earlier, whereas you guys are a lot later when you married and started a family. So I guess I would have done it differently if I was in that age bracket, because you don't want to be still trying to have children in your 40s.
Well, the lady that I follow, she's just given birth to, I think, her 8th child, and she gets a lot of abuse online.
Oh, really?
Like,
Why?
yeah, where people are just like, "What's wrong with you? Have you never heard of contraception?
What's
It's
it to do with anyone's
irresponsible." But like, there is a conversation around that, because do we feel like it's responsible to have? Is there a number where it's too many?
Why is that irresponsible?
Well, okay.
If you can
I'm gonna weigh in on
If you can afford to have 8.
Well, I'm gonna weigh in on
where is that
the.
irresponsible?
Well, I can see why people would say that. I'll weigh in on it, because I believe that there is a number that's too many. This is me personally. Don't write to me.
I think in this country there's.
See, America, I feel like you can go buy land and whatever, and
there
it's cheap,
are huge houses. I know growing up, one of my best friends in school, she was one of the youngest, and she came from a family of 17.
Yeah, wow.
You know, her mum had 17 children. So when we were like in junior school, she had grown adult brothers.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like, at what point do you stop? Like, I think that for me, like, am I going to now be having kids with my daughter? You know, like, there has to be... personally for me, there has to be a time where you're like, okay, like I'm satisfied, I'm done now. And I think that for me, just being a mom of 3 kids, I'm just thinking about like quality of life. And some people can argue that, you know, going and being in nature or homeschooling your kids gives them a better quality of life. I'm not even starting that debate. But for me personally, like, even like when we were thinking about like going from 3 to 4, I know we shouldn't, and maybe that's a conversation to be had, but you start thinking about like, okay, 4 means that if every child's going to have their own room, we need a minimum of a 5-bedroom house. And then we need at least 2 bathrooms, because that's just long in the mornings. And then we need a minimum 7-seater. And then I think about holiday, so at the moment, if we go on holiday, most hotel rooms are 2 twins, and then you can get a king, and then you can put a fold away bedding for free, if we go to
That all
4,
sounds
then
really
all of a
like
sudden,
up there.
yeah, but this is
Because
what I'm
that's not-
saying, that
but that's
those
not
are the
You get the
things that a
blow-up
lot of
beds and
people
take
are
them in,
thinking
You
about.
get the kid blow-up beds. That's what you.
Yeah, but you
anyway.
can't do that on holiday, can you?
Yeah, you
Chuck
pack
that in the
So what, you're gonna
suitcase.
pack the big heavy?
It's not heavy.
It's not heavy. You just pack it in your thing. But you know what? I think
find ways.
I think it's this generation has a different priority.
Mm.
You know, with people that were having, we grew up where you're sharing a room. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Our
every.
boys share.
And there are still families where the
Yeah.
kids are sharing. It's not, not everyone's at that level where they can. Every child can have their own room.
Mm.
And, a lot of these people, maybe holiday isn't necessarily abroad, but they'll find ways to get away. But I think it has to be people's personal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something to be debated. Harry and Meghan can say, well, we don't want to contribute to excess,
the
but then you've got
destruction of the-
cultures. But then I think you were talking to me the other day about with the Chinese. Do you remember when they were
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Chinese. I know certain
Curbing.
Asian.
in China? Yeah, because you
Yeah.
could only have one child per couple.
Well, I think
for
there
a
was
long
a thing
period.
about where they wanted a male like heir to their obviously business or their family name. So a lot of them like got rid of like the female when they found out they were having females. They got rid of the child. So now there's literally like, I don't know what the ratio is, but there's way more males than there are females in there. So obviously now trying to obviously repopulate is
Yeah, so now you're trying to
very hard, yeah.
orchestrate. You're trying to orchestrate
But
the
do
future,
you-
but you
but
don't know what it looks
do
like.
you-
Now
Exactly.
you've got more. There's not enough women to produce any more children. I think something like 25 men to 1 women.
yeah, it's
so
crazy.
if you
Okay.
need a husband,
Well then, all right.
go
Let me put it
China.
this way, Dominic. You're just about to drop your 4th. Is there a number where you're like, okay, yeah, nah, like
He said
I'm
so.
So like
tapping
the
out.
max, yeah, 5. That's it.
He said it.
That's your max.
That's the max.
So that would 6 would be too many for you. What's the difference between 5 and
Where
6?
am I going with 6?
But where are you going with 5? Like, what's the difference? What's the difference?
That's like 8.
But what
That's like a head
I
count.
wanna
Every
find
time
out
you
for
go
you
in.
what
That's
the
how-
difference
Brady
is.
That's how you leave a child at home. I now understand the film Home Alone. I understand how you could be like, like
There's one
you literally have to
missing.
do a head count every time you leave the house. It's too much. 6 is like full boy. All right, where's your sister? All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
If it's like 6, it's like it's too
So
much.
for you, that's the number that's too many.
Ideally, yeah, it would have been less, but here we are. Yeah, I mean, I love them all, but yeah, it's a lot of kids.
So that's your number. So 6 is your number that's too many.
So yeah, 6 is. Oh, gosh. Like I'm
Stressing
I'm
it.
gonna watch this back and it's just gonna age badly, but I'm hoping 5 is that's it.
So you're hoping, but you wouldn't say no to 6.
If
So,
one
like, for
arrived,
example, if the next baby
One
was
arrived.
twins
yes,
or
that is the only
triplets.
exception.
or triplets,
God, you wouldn't do that to me. You wouldn't do that to me.
so
Come on, man. It's too much.
I'll just give you an example.
Triplets.
So Jason's stepmom, her parents had 4, and they really wanted one more. I think that they had boys. I think so. They
Okay.
wanted one more girl. So they were gonna have 5. She's a triplet of 3 girls.
Oh,
So
Whatever they
There you
see, they
go.
so.
the
so
girls,
they ended up with
the
7.
the girls all came in one
yeah,
go.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
God.
Even it out.
Yeah.
I think
you
I'll
imagine?
probably have a light stroke. A light, just on the side. Little, left arm might get a little. 3 at once after having 4.
But do you think
goodness.
that?
7.
No.
Do you think that though, like honestly, like we are allowing finances to determine is that
100%.
stopping a lot of
Yeah.
people from having kids?
Because mum does time, they weren't thinking about what car we got to get. There wasn't even 7-seater
Yeah, you
cars.
walk.
Yeah.
What 7-seater car you
You
have back
walk.
then? Like you figure it out. You get bus,
Yeah,
you
get
travel.
bus,
They weren't
yeah.
even driving half the time when he was young or before I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a thing of what car or what house
And
and
that's how we all stayed fit and slim.
yeah. Now it's too.
I remember
everyone-
running. We used to run like I don't know 5-6 miles because where we used to take Michelle to the childminder, there was no straight bus there, and it was cutting across different areas, and we literally every morning, because your dad would come with me, so he didn't leave me on my own to do it, we'd like run because you're on the clock because you've got to get to work from there. So like 6-7 miles.
Yeah, them hard bottom shoes you used to wear.
Yes, no trainers. So we were running 6-7 miles. So we were like skinny as a rake, you know, having even though. So we stayed fit without the cost of a gym, but you just got on with it. You didn't have. It wasn't about a car. And because you know, it was just we weren't in that position. So money. It would have been nice to have had more, but it wasn't. We didn't have children because financially, I mean, there were times where we were in a better place financially, and we thought, yeah, we're in a good place. Let's have a baby, and you know, so there was a couple of times that it was that where we looked at it financially. We were really comfortable. We were doing good, and then so I think if we were probably in a better place financially, remembering as well, 18-year-olds, you got starting from scratch, you got absolutely nothing and not had a chance to build any kind of life. So I think financially, if we had the house and we had more and stuff like that, I think we may have had more.
So, side note,
closer together.
Which one of us was the accident?
There was no accident.
That was a heavy question, Dominic.
Isn't it?
There was a
I know it wasn't me.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm the one that started all of you lot off.
What do you mean you started us off? So you were the accident. I might as well.
I feel like that they had their first, and it was like, oh, we need to stop and like just chill for a minute.
No,
like,
that wasn't
they
the
had
reason.
me, and they were like, oh, this is wonderful. Let's go again 2 years later. And then it was like, oh, let's stop again.
I was actually traumatized. It was more.
Sarah traumatized you?
Yeah, no, it was Michelle actually. Yeah. The pregnancy was traumatizing, and being young and not knowing anything, the whole experience for me was like, this is awful. And I learned after that they're not all the same. But for me, I was sick for 9 months, thrown up for 9 months.
I think a lot of people don't talk about this though, because I think that there's so many things on Instagram of like, and like Rihanna's probably not helped as well, you know, the whole like belly out, just making it a fashion
awful
statement or whatever. But like I personally, I didn't get sick like that, but I did not find that pregnancy was this glowing experience. I hated every moment of it. I hate being pregnant. I hate it. I hate being pregnant. I really don't like it. And I've probably just never said that out loud, but I don't like it. And I think there's a lot of women that don't like being pregnant, and they don't say.
No, it's not.
I find it's it's a complete invasion of your body. Your body literally becomes something else.
I think that's another thing as well.
You're like, I struggle to like do basic things. I think obviously there's, you know, the nice things like, you know, when you see the baby kick or when you see the baby move or whatever, but it's not a comfortable thing. It's not like
it's never comfortable. I don't think it's comfortable.
Yeah, like, but there's some women that really enjoy it.
Unattractive, and some women do. You know, some women have the worst experience where they swell. I remember one of my sister-in-laws just swole. Her whole body, her face, her nose went huge, and she was so traumatized that she didn't have any more children with my brother, because she was like,
I know some women that as well, like after their labor, they're so traumatized that they literally never go back again because it's so traumatic. That's what happened
to me. It was I just was the 9 months of throwing up, couldn't keep a thing down.
Was that just with Mish or?
Yeah, that was the only one that was like the whole term of the pregnancy. Even went into labour, I'm in the car with a bucket. I'm throwing my guts up as I'm driving to the hospital. Delivery, traumatising, mortified, because my mum's not told me anything. So I've not been to any antenatal classes, no
Just show up
preparation.
And what did you think was going to happen?
I didn't know. No one had told me. So I love what my friend Lindy McCauley in South Africa, I was talking to her mum one day, and her mum's really old school. And I remember her mum saying to me, she asked her mum, how does it get out? how's it going to come out? She was that green. She's like, how's it going to come
while
out?
she's pregnant.
Yeah. So her mum said the same way it got in.
Oh yeah.
She said she was so traumatized. She was like mortified. How this thing's gonna come out now.
The fact you're asking that, you shouldn't even be in the position where you're making child.
No, they didn't back then. And then now they've gone to the other extreme where they're like overloading too much information with the children. But we had they called it birds and bees. They didn't even use the right word. You remember hearing that? We need to talk to our children about the birds and the bees.
I've spoken to Luca about it.
You've spoken to Luca already?
Okay.
Not like in details.
What did you say?
Obviously, Deisha's like pregnancies asking questions.
Like what?
How did he get in there?
Yeah.
So what did you say?
I just said to him that he put a seed in Mummy's belly. And then your brother
so
grows.
confusing, Dominic.
That's the truth.
Well, there's
Daddy put a seed in Mummy's belly, and then what happens?
Then your brother's growing, and then he'll come out. But he's like,
Did he not say how did the seed? Ezra, if you told Ezra that would open up Pandora's box.
But it's like
Ezra's mind is
but I'm not going to allow it. Just to then he asks a teacher or another child or someone.
Then they tell him something.
Then there's a whole. Then I've got a. There's a whole another thing. That's the thing now. You have to almost get there first to explain to your child.
So did he not ask after that how the seed got there?
Yeah, but Luca will process things, so it'll be
he'll think on it.
and
He'll
then
come
he'll
back
ask
at
another
you.
question.
Yeah, he'll come back.
So he didn't come back and ask another question.
Yeah, but I can't. This is a couple months ago, but it's like, I didn't do it in a way where it's like telling him every detail, but it's like I'm not telling him, a stalk come and drop your brother off or nonsense like that.
Yeah.
But it's like little details, and then when anything you're thinking about, I'll answer in a way that you can understand, and without mortifying him.
Yeah.
But I want to be able
you got to
be
tell
open
it to them
with
in
that.
their age group.
And Luca's very smart. Even like Tish picked him up the other day, and she just came back from the doctor, so she had that folder.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, is that your doctor's folder?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have any pictures in there of Cohen?" Like, oh yeah, I do actually. He's like, but it's the things he associates. One time he saw it, and then I think with Miko, and then Luca's memory is like an elephant.
He doesn't
remembers
forget
everything. Yeah. So if he says that, I try to just explain it in a way, because I know he's gonna remember. So I try to do it in a way that it's honest, but
and true.
But
and
not
true.
too graphic.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, you and Danny shared a bed till how old?
Till like way too long.
You were teenagers, were you teenagers?
We were like more than teenagers.
Was
we were like
just in
15.
Oldbrook, was it?
No, this is.
You shared a room.
Yeah,
It
just
was a
Oldbrook.
They had
Oldbrook.
they had
we
bunk
shared,
beds.
we did not.
No, they just
Well, you did.
shared a bed.
We shared a bed, Mum.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember having a bunk bed.
They
we've
used to
never
have
had
a
a
bunk
bunk bed.
They had a bunk bed
Weird.
at South
Yeah,
Norwood
no, in
Hill.
South Norwood. We
Yeah.
never had one in
Okay.
Outlook Crescent.
That's
So
cozy.
you had a double bed.
We had a double bed,
Yeah.
and Danny was really messy. So I used to literally like find ways to divide the room. So
With her
I'd
dirt.
like put like pillows down the middle, and this is my side. So I'd make up my side, and then her side was always unmade. And then I'd like to try and divide the room so that I had like some kind of level of like tranquility on my side of the room. And then I remember when we thought Misha was moving out, like I got
You ready for the room?
I got in trouble because I like just as she was getting told off boy, I was like packing her stuff, like see ya. It was really bad.
But you lot's room was bigger, no, than hers. I'm
It was,
sure.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
Misha
she
had
had
like
the
a box
box
room.
room.
Yeah.
So
I
they
mean,
had
I
big
think
room,
I think
big
we would
room.
be shocked if we went back today and saw the size of it.
It's
Yeah, it
probably
was a
not the
very
same as
small
how
It was a
was.
very small room. It
Literally,
literally
but
just fitted the
It was a
double
box
bed in.
room. Is that what was it? 1, 2, 3. It was a 4-bedroom, but it had a box.
I don't think
room.
Mish had a double bed. She had a
No,
single
No,
bed.
she had
didn't.
a
It was
single
a
bed. It was a
single.
box room,
Yeah.
but ours was enough to just fit a double bed in.
I would love to go back to how it was and look at it.
Yeah.
House.
Yeah, I'd
Go
actually.
knock on the. You can go back up and
Yeah, but
knock
it's
on
not
the
going to be
door.
the same either way. They're
Yeah.
going to update it, and I'd love to go in there, see the green bathroom and green
Oh
bathtub.
gosh.
Yeah, I
And
remember
then-
that,
Yeah, but we got rid of that from long time. We got rid of
But
that.
I remember that. I feel
Yeah,
like
but after we moved out, because we rented the property, so we we had gutted it.
I don't remember that changing.
Yeah,
we
gutted it and refurbished.
I feel like kids nowadays, like their expectation is so much higher than what ours was.
Yeah, we made it just work.
Yeah, like I feel like when I speak to all of my friends, like they all shared a room or shared a bed or whatever.
That was
and
normal.
I feel like, I don't know, have people got wealthier or what's happened? Like,
I think they just want to live a certain life, and it's just that's the thing. That's why people, I think, even having less kids.
Well, I guess wealthier is what's happening, because you had it where, like, I mean, my mum always worked, but you had a lot of stay-at-home mums. So obviously there's one income.
Yeah.
So the one income you can only go so high, and people just, you know, this is what we can afford on the father's income, on his salary. Now you've got both couples, most household today, both couples are working, so now you've got double the income.
Yeah.
So the lifestyle, the standard of living's gone up, but it was not that long ago that people were siblings shared.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't in today now. I mean, gosh, that would have been a luxury.
I'll tell you how old I was, because I moved to South Africa when I was 17, and while I was there, that's when they moved to Campania.
So you moved while we're still in Oldbrook?
Yeah. Because I left, that's the...
Because remember, she went away for 2 years.
Yeah.
How long ago, what was the gap between when Mish moved out and you left?
Goodness. She was gone a long time before you went to...
Yeah, I was 15.
Yeah.
So 2 years.
It was just 2 years?
Yeah, it was 2 years.
You think?
Yeah, I was 15. I was still in school.
At least 15.
So you didn't move in the
not
room?
Younger.
Huh?
So who moved in Mish's room?
I think Danny did, didn't she? Or were we allowed to move in there?
I can't remember.
I don't know if they would let us move in.
I can't remember.
I don't think we were allowed to
into.
move in. I think we still stay sharing. I don't know
Yeah,
why. It wasn't me. I would have remembered that room.
Because I feel like Mish moved out for ages.
Yeah, but one of you moved into it.
It must have been Danny, because it wasn't me.
Someone moved into it, but we wouldn't have left it.
Yeah, so it would have been 2 years max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I literally moved like a month after I turned 17.
But you lot had your own rooms in the next house anyway.
Yeah.
So you know, we were talking about families that are having all these children. Surely they're not in individual rooms. So, you know, we've got families in this country.
Like the one you sent me the other day.
Yeah.
I think they had 11 kids.
Yeah, I'm sure they haven't got a 12-bedroom house.
For me personally, it wouldn't even be about the room situation or whatever. I think for me, it would be, I wouldn't know unless I was there and I was doing it. And, you know, maybe someone that has more than like 7, 8 kids can answer this. But for me, I personally would find, I find even now with the 3 kids, trying to give them individual attention and individual time, and like even bedtime, for example, I go to each of their rooms. They have their own rooms. Go to each of their rooms. You know, by the time I've done their prayers, we've had a chat, read a story. You're talking about like half an hour.
Yeah.
Like if you now put 11 kids in the equation,
6 hours. So you got to start putting bed at 2 p.m. boy.
We need to literally start bedtime for the time they get home from school. Do you get what I mean?
Or
And
just
then-
do a mass. They probably just do a corporate, and
and
everyone
like,
goes to
are we really able to like spend time, like proper time together? I'm
But
sure
you know
are.
what?
I think there's pros and cons to that.
There's pros and cons, because when you look at the family,
Like
the way it
growing up with that many
was, they were
siblings.
closer.
Yeah.
Then now, today, I'm finding, yes, they've got all of these things, but they're not, the families are not as tight. They're not, the closeness isn't there. The kids are very detached in a lot of households today. The kids are detached
But
from
do
the
you
parents.
think that's the number of children or the intentionality of parenting?
I think it's the intentionality of parenting, because for me, one of the things, if you'll remember that I wouldn't have any other TV in the house but one.
Yeah.
And the intentionality of it was that I didn't want you all in your rooms and we never see you. So the whole idea, everybody comes down and we figure out what we're going to watch, you know, on the box. And so you had that family thing together. And I think that's the intentionality. I think today we're trying to give our kids so much, but it doesn't necessarily make them better people, and doesn't necessarily make the family closer and more close-knit. I think the intentionality, you can have 10 children and have a great home life if you're intentional about bringing the family together. If you all remember dinner time, we came together every Saturday morning. We'd come together, breakfast, you know, because and now everyone's not like rushing off to school or college or wherever. So the intentionality was always bring the family together. And I think that has to be the focus, is that get rid of the individual. And I know it's hard now because now people are giving their kids phones. So, okay, I don't have a TV in my room, but I've got my phone. So I'll stay upstairs.
While we're on that topic, what age do you think is appropriate for a young person to have a phone?
I think it's very different to when I got a phone when I was young. When I got a phone, it's cool. The most you can do is play Snake on the phone. Like it was not Tetris. What this is. This is not just this is a computer.
Yeah.
You usually have a device that does everything, literally that a laptop or a computer will do. So I think it's a very different thing to what we, you know. I got a, what's that? Was it Samsung? Where it had the little flip and had multicolored different ones.
Oh, Nokia.
The BlackBerry.
Flip up. No, it's like Beam Me Up Scotty phone. Those ones was
it
was
a Samsung
flip
one
phone?
First. It was like a little
the one with the little keypad,
and it flipped out, but they came in different colours. I think you could change out the colours.
Oh yes, yeah, Nokia.
No, it was Samsung one.
Was it Samsung?
Before we got Nokias, yeah,
okay.
And then we got Nokias after.
Yeah.
But that's the first one I got anyway. I think it was one of the girls' old ones. Or
yeah.
And it's like, but it's just different. Like, yeah, you can call. You might be able to text, SMS. It was, you know what I mean. But now it's just like what this device can like the implications of them using this phone, what they can search for, they can have a conversation or overhear something in school, type it into Google on their phone, and you're in no control of what shows up or what they dig further or look into, and that's a scary thing. Like, what age are you comfortable with them being able to do that?
Yeah.
When you really think about it, it's not just them having a phone so they can reach you.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I'll buy you the Nokia 3210
yeah.
and you can use that. But this is like, what age would you be comfortable with them exploring the world, like that you trust them to do that? That's what it is.
See, Maya's 11, right? And a lot of her friends already have phones, like a lot. And so obviously there's that peer pressure of, you know, all my friends have a phone, blah, blah, blah. And I agree. I feel like social media is destroying this generation.
It is, very much.
I think that so a lot of people don't realise that the human brain doesn't actually stop developing until it's 25. And so you're really putting, if you put a phone in the hands of, say, for example, an 11-year-old, she's got 9 more years of her brain being developed, 9 more years of creating the correct coping mechanisms, recognizing danger.
That's a good word right there, coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're not taking into account. The coping mechanism with what comes with the phone. Not only from the information that they are able to access, but the bullying and the, you know, all the type of things that kids do.
This is the youngest and highest level generation that is addicted to pornography.
Yeah.
So kids are watching pornography 2-3 times a day. Kids are being seen on the way to school at 10 a.m., 9 a.m., 7 a.m. watching pornography.
Wow.
We're talking like 10-year-olds, like 9-year-olds, and it's all comes down to the fact that they've got this device. And I think you made a really good point, Dom. Like, I don't genuinely feel like every kid that ends up in this dark underworld place that is the internet does it intentionally. I think that there's so many things where, you know, they hear something in the playground or someone says something, they're too embarrassed to ask mum, they're too embarrassed to ask the friend that said it. So let me just Google, does that make sense? And then they Google it and it starts this curiosity.
But that's the thing with curiosity. So for us, you know, growing up when we didn't have phones, we found something else to be curious about. So it's like, okay, someone mentioned Ouija boards. So we were curious, and we didn't just we're curious, oh, what is that? We wanted to try it. And that's the scary thing, because now they have these images. So what's the next thing? Oh, we want to try that.
But the thing is also they're desensitized to what they see on social media. So all the things that was just like explicit in our day, it's just like women half naked on Instagram or men, whatever. It's like you see that on just the explore page or just when it's scrolling by. Yeah. So it's not even a thing anymore where...
See, I was speaking...
go on.
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking to one of my friends that goes to school with Maya, and she said that her sister, the rule is no matter what age they are, they have a bowl by the front door, and everybody, including mum, dad, everybody, as soon as they walk in the house, that all phones go in that bowl, and they stay there till the following day when everyone's leaving. So phones are very much like, this is what we use when we're outside. When we're inside, no phone. They're not allowed phones in their bedrooms. They're not allowed phones anywhere else in the house. So when they get home, because really when you're home, everything's there anyway. You got the TV, you got your family or whatever. And I just thought it was a really good.
But you still can't. You're still not managing the time they
when they're not with you. Yeah,
because that's the thing. One friend will be like, you're sharing, because we do that all the time. We send each other links to look at different things.
Literally, like, me and mum send stuff on Instagram all the time, but like for obviously kids doing that, how do you even control that? Their friendship group, what they're sending them,
you can't.
It's like there's no.
If they've got the device, you've already lost control. That's a reality, and as much as people are in denial, I'm seeing more and more the negative. We've been saying it for years. We've been saying this, don't give them these phones. Don't give them these phones.
What would you say to the person that says, I need to give them a phone because they travel to school by themselves. I need to be able to get hold of them.
They just need a phone that is a phone.
Yeah.
They don't need a computer. Yeah. They don't need to be able to access internet. That is where the danger is, the access of internet. If it's just to be able to, that's all you want to reach them on. And that's all you can reach them on as a parent. You're going to call them.
I'll get them an Apple Watch. So they can text you.
So I was going to ask about that because Kayla and Maya have said, okay, if we're not allowed a phone, can we have an Apple Watch?
So
does that not access the internet as well?
I don't know. I don't think I can search internet on here. I can make calls. I can send texts on here. Obviously I use it for fitness and stuff. But I don't think you can search internet or anything like that.
Can you find out and let me know? Because I thought
I'm an old man now, so let me see.
Because that's their alternative.
Compromise.
That's their compromise.
Well, why can't they just have because what do they want it for?
So I think that they like the idea. What they've said to me is because they've got iPads, but they said obviously they're quite cumbersome. And there are moments, if I'm honest, where, for example, there's no internet.
So I can send texts. I can make calls. This is obviously if you put the SIM card in it as well, the SIM card one. But yeah, calculator, calendar. Obviously my bloods, and worst case I could do SOS. So if when my thing went off and it called, message all you lot, it's because I had it on my watch, so it can let you know where I am. You can track where I am from it. So.
Because what they're saying is like there's for example there's moments where I might say to them, okay, go in there, I'm just gonna go here, or you grab that, and it's just those moments where, or like I might,
what do you
for
mean,
example,
the supermarket,
or they want it like where instead of them, so for example the other day they wanted 5 Guys, and so there was only double yellow, so I stayed outside the store. I could see in the store, but they went in, but then they had to come all the way out to ask me for like some more money or whatever, whereas they could have just called me, like that kind of stuff. They're saying like, Mum, if we had a phone we could have just called you, whatever. And I'm like, you're not getting a phone. But then like they're going on a ski trip, right? They're going on a ski trip on Sunday, right? And they're not allowed phones, but as they get older, I can see where, something like that, it would be nice to be able to contact them. And I do on their iPads, like if they stay at your house or whatever, I'll call them, I'll text them or whatever. So I genuinely think that their desire for it at the moment is very innocent. But I definitely wouldn't want to be giving them. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be giving them. Well, I think that Myron K is just like the idea of it. Yeah, it feels grown up to them, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then it's all our friends have one, but. It's
the problem is closing that door when it's open. Well,
this is the thing. Once you open a door, that thing is in, and it doesn't just stay there.
It's not even them searching something. If someone just sends them something, like it literally just a message, and then that can open the door to curiosity, whatever it is. So it's not even like their mind might look for something. It's who their friendship circle is. It's so hard to.
Well, people are so cruel today. You have so many kids that commit suicide simply because of that,
bullying them online,
that device that they've got in their
whatever
hands.
They do. Yeah. It's like.
Well, I saw this actor Boris. I can't remember his name. He was being interviewed by Jennifer Hudson the other day, and he's got I think it's like an 18-year-old son and like a 16-year-old daughter or whatever.
Oh, I think I know. He's married to his
wife. She's very fair. And
Boris Kojo.
Something like that. Oh, yeah. And they were interviewing him, and they were saying, we heard that you basically like go into your children's Instagram profiles. And she's like 100%. And I think people were really shocked because we live in a generation now where kids need privacy, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, I go in, I block and I delete. He goes into his son's Instagram. His son's like 18, 19, and he goes into his son's Instagram and he blocks and he deletes. And he said that he tracks his daughter's Instagram, he checks her messages, whatever. He makes sure. And obviously the reaction was like, oh my gosh, you do that? They allow you to? And he's like, they don't allow me to. Like,
I don't have a choice.
I'm their dad. They don't have a choice.
I'm actually parenting.
And I wanted us to ask ourselves the question, honestly, like, because I feel like we're talking about this and we've got a lot of kids that have these devices, have these things, and there's almost a sense of like, Myra and Kayla said to me, Mummy, you're not supposed to read all my messages. I said, I will continue to read all your messages because I'm the one that gave you the device. Like, I will always. And
red flag.
But then for them, they're like, that's my friends, whatever. And I was like, and I'm your mom.
Yeah.
And they're like, none of their moms read their messages. And I'm like, that's their business. Like, I know where you are all time.
I remember you came back one day, your friend says, your mum's really old fashioned.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to do something you weren't allowed to do what they were doing.
Yeah.
But you got to parent.
Yeah, so like, what do we think about that? Because we've got this whole generation that is kind of almost like being treated like adults. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
like they're being given so much responsibility where, for me personally, I don't feel like they've earned. Does that make sense? Like, you haven't earned that right to have so much responsibility. And for me, if it's about like, because I'm working and I can't be there must be alternatives. And I feel like we need to have a conversation about it, because I get it. Like, people are hustling hard. Like, people are trying to make a better life for their kids. Some people are doing that single mom thing or that single dad thing or whatever. We get it. But I think that we're so almost like programmed with this is the only solution, that almost like it's like, like robotic, like everyone's kind of doing the same thing. And I think that no one's having that conversation about, like, actually, like we said, if you're gonna do a phone, give them a Nokia, burner phones they call them nowadays, or whatever. Like, there's other alternatives. I feel like we need to take more responsibility outside of the environment and what's happening with the environment, and make, like, you can have 2 kids, but if we're also handing them things that are like grenades, what's the point of like stopping at 2 kids if you're gonna destroy the world a different way?
That's how serious people really have to take it. Would you hand Luca a grenade?
No, of course not. It's like.
But then we're giving things that we don't deem as dangerous, but they actually are.
Of course they are, and I think that's we're in a phase where we're seeing the results of that, and I'm going to continue to see the results of these kids are getting confused and don't know what they are, and you've seen videos. I don't know if you have, where parents allow these kids to have these surgeries or these hormonal tablets, and then they get to an age where they're Like they're so angry at their parents for allowing them to do those things.
Well, I actually only found out recently, I was sharing with Mum that, you can order online an abortion tablet that can come in the mail.
Without your parents
knowing anything. And you can self-abort, which for me is insane.
So your child could be bleeding to death in the bathroom and you don't know what's going on. And, you know, shock of shocks, you may walk in and your child's died.
So
because and this is what the governments are trying to do. It's like, let's bypass the parent.
Yeah.
So anything to bypass the parent.
Trying to control the population.
So if we can bypass the parents, so kids no longer need permission. I remember when I got married, when I went to see the vicar, I was still 17. I had to bring my parents.
Yeah.
And they had to give consent. They had to give their consent for me to get married at 18.
Well,
now it's like this culture. It's like, well, let's find as many ways as possible to bypass and remove the parent so that we can, you know, the world wants to get direct access to your children. And
I think that there's even like kids that are being put on hormone changing tablets and everything, and you don't have to consult the parents.
Yeah.
And I think it's just crazy. And I think that as parents, we really need to stand up and parent, because I think so many are so scared of, well, if I parent properly, my kid's not going to like me anymore, or my kid's not going to want me to be around anymore, or my kid's not going to be my friend. But I think that we've got to understand that there's a generation that literally is got such a level of depravity to them. Yeah. And there's such a, like, I was speaking to the youth the other day and I was like, we've been so infiltrated with stuff. I don't even know if anyone knows what normal is anymore, you know, because there's so much infiltration of everything. And I think that we have to start the conversation. Like, let's safeguard our kids. Like, let's stand up. There's so many examples where you see, I was reading or maybe I was watching a documentary the other day where this girl, she was really insecure. She started speaking to this guy, met her, actually invited one of his neighbors over, and it was actually the neighbor that killed her. So she tried to go home. She was like 15 or 14 or whatever. She tried to go home, lied to her parents that she was staying at her parents' one of her best friend's houses. She's been lured by this groomer to a house. Then it was his neighbor comes round, has his way with her. Then he's the one that kills her, you know, and they're serving prison sentences today, but she's dead.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And I think that we've got to recognise the world that we live in today.
And let me just address as well this thing that parents have today about their kids liking them and, you know, their kids, you know, thinking, you know, trying to please your kids. There are times when you're going to have to make decisions as a parent because you are the older one, you know better, that your kids are going to get mad at you, that they're going to dislike you, but that's okay. Yeah. And I think we all, as parents, we need to be okay with you being mad at me for a minute. Yeah. You need to be okay with getting angry at me because I said no to you, or I put my foot down, or I said you can't do this or you can't go there. You have to be okay with that. You know, we parented. We weren't trying to be you lot's best friend. We were trying our best to be good parents, being hands-on parents, and because it's our, you know, as a parent, for me, my children, I'm the only one that can protect them and their father. No one else is concerned about protecting you. So I'm going to do and put things in place that's going to safeguard you, that's going to protect you. I'm your parent. And so there were times when, I'm sure you guys can remember, where you probably didn't like the choices we made or the no's. And I remember one of you, your siblings, came and said to me years later, thank you. You know, after being mad, I knew was mad at me over a course of time, but came back and said, thank you for fighting for me. Thank you. And, you know, there are times when you are fighting for the survival of your child. And through that season, your child may not like you at all, but you must be okay with that. That's part of parenting. You have to be. There's times when growing up, I didn't like my parents because you didn't like they said you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't do that. We just just felt like you're ruining my life, you're cramping my lifestyle. But they're trying to safeguard us, you know, and that's what we've got to get to the place where parents get back to parenting and thinking about safeguarding. Because if we really have safeguarding at the forefront of our minds, we'd say no to a lot more things.
Well, we were talking about like how much is too much in terms of kids and stuff, but what about just everything that we have in general, from the phones that we have, like there's new phone come out every year,
cars,
you know, the food, we can order food right now, it comes in 30 minutes to the door. Like there's no,
how much
we've lost that whole, we were saying there's not enough of anything for, you know, for the population, but is the issue not of,
it's just like,
if everyone's growing their own food and still doing that stuff.
Consumerism is on the high.
But I feel like something's happened, because I don't know if it's because we have social media and we, like, I guess when people lived in nice houses or when they drove nice cars, there was no way of you seeing it. Does that make sense? Other than, you know, someone drives past a nice car and you'd be like, oh wow.
Or you drive past a nice house.
Yeah, or you drive past a nice house, you'd be like, oh wow.
But you know what, I feel like now, when they used to do that thing, cribs.
Yeah, but I think
even then, like years later.
Yeah, but then even then, I think that with cribs, I remember cribs growing up. It was almost very much like, oh, that's what you have when you're rich and when you're famous.
Rich and famous.
And I feel like what's happened is there's obviously more and more entrepreneurs. There's more and more people that are self-made business people and self-made millionaires and influencers or whatever. There's so many ways to make money now. And I think that, but what's happening is their lifestyle and their life is being played out in full view of everybody. And I think that that's what it is. I think that that's where it's never enough, and and we always want too much, because, well, you know, like even with my kids, they go to private school, and so our house is one of the smallest houses, and I don't live in a small house, but our house is one of the smallest houses out of their friendship groups. Like, you get there and it's like, you pull in, the gates open, you know, it's acres and acres of land. So even for them, I've really had to check them and talk to them, because what they're seeing in terms of their friends, I don't know how their parents have made their money or whatever. And, you know, congratulations to them. That's not our story right now. But like for them, it's almost like they see our house as small. And I've had to take them to places and be like, you're blessed. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are blessed. Yeah. But then they're growing up where, like, even in this, what's this game that they play, Roblox, they're all building mansions. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's very nice, like what they're building or whatever, but you know, and they've said to me, you know, and like Kayla shows me, you know, this is where you're gonna live when I get married, and she's built a suite for me, because she said, you got to look after my children, and so I'm not gonna have a life when these kids get older, and they think the minute that they have children, that's me, dad. I'm the living nanny. Not even, I don't get to visit. I don't get to leave. But for her, like, it's just like, you know, they tell me they're gonna have a housekeeper, they're gonna have this, they're gonna have that. I said, well, you better get higher in your maths and your English if that's what you're doing. But for them, I think that there's a generation of so much. Does that make sense? Like, even Kayla recently, Mummy, I need a Stanley ball, and I'm like, what's a Stanley ball? And then I was at Stanley Cups, drink cup. Exactly. And so then I was at their lacrosse match the other day, and then there's a girl with this Stanley Cup thing, and all of them are like, oh, you've got the Stanley Cup. And she's like, yeah. She's like, you know, it's £45, and I was like, this is why Kayla wants the Stanley Cup. No, you're not getting it. You know, but I was like, okay, this is where it's coming from. But it's like there's always the next thing. Does that make sense? And then as I'm sitting there, the girls are sitting next to me that are playing this lacrosse match. They're all part of these girl groups, and she's like, I like your trainers. I said, oh, thank you. I like your nails. I said, thank you. I like you. I said, okay, I get it. Like, but it's like, you know, she's just sitting there checking me out as, you know, this is a kid that I've never spoken to before.
Yeah, but this is what this generation is. With the phone, again, it all goes back to the phone, doesn't it? It's like we're looking at other people's lifestyle.
But I don't even think I think it's coming from every angle. It's not just the phone. It's like,
but that's primarily
it's
the feed.
TV, it's YouTube, it's the iPads, it's the everything.
It's
and
all the
I
feed
think
that's been fed to
but
us.
we've got to even ask ourselves, because I've had to stop and take stock sometimes, because you know, I love home design. I love home interiors. That's my passion. That's my hobby. I love it. I love interior design. But then I can get to the point where I'm like, I hate my kitchen.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
see
Because
something
I've just been looking
no.
at like 20 like
islands. That's
amazing like
my dream,
island
island
bed.
kitchen.
I even said, I'm not even gonna lie, I said something to Jason this morning saying this is my dream kitchen, FYI. Because for me, but how would I know that exists? Unless I'm being
Instagram.
Infiltrated, and everyone seems to have
It's not
this
just the
shaker dream kitchen.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's not
but
just the
me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you can get to the point, and I think we've all got to be honest with ourselves.
You know, but I think what it creates in us is that dissatisfaction.
Yeah, because what you would be satisfied with,
I'm looking at what you've got. Oh, your trainers. Oh, your nails. Oh, your Apple Watch. And then I'm like, now I'm dissatisfied, and I'm gonna want that, and whatever means to get it. I'm gonna do that to make it happen, and it's a really shallow way of living, and people are not actually slowing down, and that's one of the things I'm just learning to do is just slow down and listen, slow down and really connect with people. Because all of that stuff is all irrelevant at the end of the day, and it's relationships, and all of this stuff takes us away. If you notice, it all takes you away from relationships.
But I think as well, like it keeps you on that hamster wheel, because you have to now keep working, because now, you know, you've got accustomed to 3 holidays a year. You've got accustomed to the 1.5 million,
back in
2
the day,
million pound
one
house.
holiday was what most people look forward to.
It's so bad now that women are actually marrying just so they can get these certain things. To live that soft life or whatever.
Yeah, the soft
life.
Yeah.
And men are doing it too, you know. Don't just watch women.
This day and age,
they're marrying older
hard,
women so that they can have the soft life, boy.
Wow.
Yeah, but
everyone's looking for this soft life. I say no soft life.
Because what do they see? They see these women on TV and they
want to drive nice cars, not worry about debt or anything like that.
They're on holiday and they've got their designer wardrobe, and
that's what they
you know, even if you're not following any particular, you get those suggestions that gets popped up on your social media that suggest whether it's clothes or it just keeps popping up. So you're seeing these things, and you can get really dissatisfied.
I've done it yesterday. I saw one where there's a couple where they built a home gym in their garage, and it's nice, and they got a little swan in there. I said, "Could use that next house I want to get." But then you think about it, it's like, you don't need that. We've got a membership, £20 down the road. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to spend like 30 grand in your house, in your garage, but it's like in your head it makes you just go to somewhere where you're like, if I can just, you know,
you're there, you're cooking in your kitchen, you've got your laundry
but these
room.
times these people have to post this so they can pay their bill.
Well, this is the thing, they've got to maintain that, because that's what's paying for this.
You're not seeing behind the phone, the other side of the phone, when people are not happy about these things.
I think I was reading something the other day, or someone said something the other day about these designers having to keep coming out with these fashion, because they need to influence us to buy to keep them in the lifestyle, and that's what we don't realise.
That's too much enough when you got bags and clothes.
I mean. I know. When's enough enough?
How many shoulders you got in hands? You got 10 bags.
When is enough enough?
You put around your neck, your toes, your leg, everything.
One on each toe. One on each toe.
Here.
So how do you deal with that?
The years,
do you just get rid of everything and just live a minimalistic life?
No.
Just have one bag?
Do you know what? Can I just say this? You know, in saying that, we've been on great holidays. We've been on fantastic holidays. We stayed in great resorts. My favorite holiday that I've never forgotten is Portugal.
Our first one.
When we went to the thing, and I think it's because, number one, it was a sacrifice to get there, but also it was just simple. And like, even when we went to Cape Town recently, like, I could have, you know, done the whole fancy, you know, come back and then not had no money when I got back. And I mean, our villa was nice, but I wouldn't say it was like razzmatazz, like, you know, 5-star everything. And, you know, even the kids were like, oh, mummy, this isn't like you to not get something so nice, whatever. I said, just go to your room. I was like, yeah, they're getting stush. And I was like, you know what? I said to Jason, like, let's go back to
when the kids start doing that.
Yeah,
that's scary.
And you know what? We had a great time. They haven't
experienced the struggle part. That's the thing.
No.
When you always want to do better than what you got, and then that part, you're taking out a certain element. You're taking out ingredients of what made you who you are.
Yeah, which is what's character building.
Yeah, because you want them to have a better life than you or whatever you did.
So for us, we had, you know, yes, I'm at an age now where I can afford things I couldn't afford when I was younger, but the character building of that is now I've got things like I pulled out a bag that I've probably had for about 30 years and never used. And I think you Googled it, the value of it is today. It's still got the plastic on the metal bits, but I learned to value everything I have now. Is I value it, and I treat it's my enjoyment. I'm not doing it to show off I don't post my stuff on Instagram or any kind of social media. It's for my personal pleasure, because now I'm at a place, because I wasn't for the longest time when we were raising our family. That was the priority. The money that we made went into the family. It was never me trying to buy designer or anything. I didn't have no designer, nothing growing up. And that's when you remember that was like the first holiday. I had a great job. I finally broke through into career, and I had a great job. And I remember seeing this on the staff notice board, this villa, and I said, even then we were struggling. It was like, okay, I said to your dad, I'm gonna book it. You know, let's put something down. I think it was like £50, and I think the villa back then was like £250, which was really incredibly cheap. It was somebody that worked there; their parents owned it, and that was an amazing villa. But it was all our money went into back into our family.
I remember that holiday. I was probably like Lucas.
I remember. I didn't even.
Yeah, you were about 3 and a half, 4.
Yeah, I remember that holiday. Like,
and I slept on the sofa.
Remember the dog?
Benji.
Was it Benji? No,
Benji.
No, there's a stray dog you lot adopted.
I had one in Jamaica, Poochie.
Poochie, that's it.
Yeah, you always like find some stray animal.
I had a dog in Jamaica and a dog in.
But we only started really like enjoying our money on ourselves when you guys really, you know, became independent and you were working. But for the longest time, I didn't have a designer, nothing, shoes or bag. It was just everything was the kids came first. So any money we made, it was making sure you lot were clothed and you had what you needed and the bills were paid. But then as life eases up as you get older, which is the norm, I think, that's the norm, that as you get older, you now are in a place where all of those things that you had to put money on, and you don't have those anymore. So now, okay, I've got a bit more money in my hand. I can treat myself. And I think that's healthier, where you feel, okay, I can treat myself to something nice now.
I think that I think what Dominic's saying is that each of us needs to also, like, the treat can come, and those are always good. Like, it's nice to have a nice holiday. It's nice to get a new bag or a new pair of shoes. But I think that what Dominic's trying to get at is, like, for us and this generation and this world, feel like, when is enough? Like, so if I never got another holiday, if I never got another bag, like if I never got another pair of shoes, another pair of trainers or whatever, like, I think it's getting to that place of contentment where it's enough. Like, do you know what I mean? If I never moved house, do you know what I mean?
More
like,
than a lot of people.
because I feel like if we would get to that point, debt would be erased, because really what debt is.
But then that's not the goal of, I think what we don't realize is how much we're controlled as a civilization, and that's not what they want to happen. So hence the constant bombardment of things. You need to buy this, you need to buy this, you need to up your lifestyle, because there is something greater at play that we don't realize, that majority of people don't realize, something greater at play that keeps that economy going. Because if everyone stopped shopping, then it crashes the economy. So they need that consumerism. You notice, like at Christmas time, they'll tell you, it was up or it went down. They're watching all of that. So they need you to keep spending money, basically.
It's like everything's a money-making scheme for the government purposes, and
and maybe some of it's subliminal. They used to do subliminal back in the day.
You know what? I think that instead of like, for me, like what I've really been craving or looking for is like, I want to buy like a holiday home somewhere, like literally like by a lake in the middle of a forest, somewhere where there's nothing. There's no shop. There's no nothing. You got to like literally go find something somewhere. There's no cell phone signal, and just like once a year, every year, just take the kids where you just go into nature, you just enjoy being, because I feel like it's almost like now that's the novelty now. Like we don't have that anymore. We're just simple. And like I just find myself craving more and more simplicity, you know, like let's slow down, let's pull back, let's just be together, like let's just be like without all the, you know, like we're gonna go on holiday, we spend the same amount of the holiday buying the clothes to go on the holiday. Do you know what I mean? But we've got clothes in our wardrobe. So the last few holidays I haven't bought nothing.
No one's
for
going
the
to see us
kids.
abroad this year. So
that's what I'm saying. Like the shorts that you haven't been able to wear all year because it's been raining for 5 months. Do you know what I mean? But like it's like we're just programmed. I feel like, you know, like those robots where you go in and you program them and they just function. I feel like we're like been programmed.
They used to do a thing called subliminal advertising, where you don't actually see it with your natural eye, but it was a message would go across the screen, and they tested that in cinemas, and a message went across the screen said go buy popcorn and a Coke. And you know, back in the day you used to have intervals in the cinema for people to go out and get food, and everybody would go out and buy Coke. Now the movie plays all the way through, but they used to stop it halfway. Can you imagine? And everyone goes out and get their
like
popcorn,
a good bit, and it's like intermission.
Intermission. Go out, get
like
your
in
popcorn,
the middle of like
and then come back.
as a highlight.
And they found that it worked, and they said, you know, it was illegal, they weren't going to do it. But who says they're not doing it today? Because people are very much controlled. It's like people just keep going out and buying things.
I don't think people realize how controlled like the world is and people are.
Yeah,
it's like they done this experiment, right, with some monkeys. I don't know if you heard about the story, where they had a banana like at the top of the monkeys in a cage, and it's at the top, right? So when a monkey tried to go get it, and when the monkey tried to get it, it sprayed all the other monkeys with water at the bottom.
Okay.
So then the monkey came down, and then, you know, it happened a few more times. Every time they tried to get it, they sprayed the monkeys at the bottom. So now when a monkey tried to go get it, they pulled the monkey down and beat the other monkeys, beat the monkey.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because they know when you try to go get the banana,
we're going to get
you
sprayed.
spray the water. So then now the next monkey, and they took out a few monkeys and put in some new monkeys. But now every time, you know, they've seen monkey try to go up there, they get beat. They stop spraying the monkeys, but then they just saw them get beaten up. So no monkeys stopped going there. They didn't know they were gonna get sprayed. The new monkeys.
Yeah.
Then they took out all the older monkeys, and all the new ones weren't going for the banana because they think they're gonna get beaten up, but they don't know why.
Yeah.
So it's the same with civilization, where they've controlled us.
Yeah.
All it takes is about 2 generations,
Yeah.
and then that's how we live by.
Yeah.
You know, and there's the thing. Even I was doing some research on like there's so many people that's discovered cures for cancer and things like that.
Yeah.
That either disappear or
Yeah.
they're brought out or they just die.
Yeah.
Even
Mysteriously.
Dr. Sebi as well.
Yeah.
Those things.
Yeah.
And it's like what people don't realize is how much money they make from all this cancer pharmaceuticals. I actually got the revenue from 2019. Sales revenue from cancer drugs has doubled. This is in 2019. It's exceeded 103 billion in US dollars.
Wow.
So that ties into why they're putting chemicals in people's food.
Of course. Then they go to pharmaceuticals.
So you go to...
They take away all the farming and natural... In the Bible, it says, I've given you all seed to bearing fruit to consume and all herbs to
for healing.
Yeah. It says it right there, but people want to go to pharmacy. When was pharmacy even? This is all new things within 100 odd years.
Yeah.
These things weren't there to heal us.
Yeah.
And what they do, they take extracts of things that are there to heal us. They take out parts and it has side effects, and they use those, and it has you coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
You take Nurofen
they want you to come back.
Exactly. And it's the thing
I
is,
think they said there's such a rise in young people. I was reading it, an article this week actually, where there's such a rise in young people with cancer today.
Yeah.
There's no reason why a young person should have cancer, really. Yes, there are the odd rare cases. There are, where kids get leukemia and stuff like that. But the rise that they're seeing in young people with cancer.
We've got GMO food,
what
GMO chicken, farmed fish.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even escape this unless you literally seclude yourself
That's
from
what I'm saying.
the world?
At least you want to go.
That's
buy
actually
a
my dream.
ranch.
I don't know if I even said it to you.
Chicken.
Yeah.
I sent it to you this morning, where this guy lives off. He
Lives
showers.
Yeah.
The water runs down. He's got outside shower, so it runs down. Waters his plants outside. The washing machine waters.
But the way that
plants,
their
and it's just
society is set up,
it's like impossible to even do this.
It's impossible to do that.
You know what I
You
mean?
can if you buy land.
Yeah, but it's like
build your own community.
No, but it's having
detach yourself from the world.
I think if people came together, people could actually create these spots, but where we could create our own community and be self-sufficient.
If you think about it, going back to all the westerns that Dad watches, that's what they did.
Yeah,
everyone had a farm.
Yeah.
They all lived, had their little house. Even if they didn't have money, they all had their own farm. They all growing their own vegetables. They all had their own chickens. They all had their own animals.
How much was land then?
Yeah.
Now the man, you got to work. You have to go work, and then by the time you get home, you're tired to even do farming. You have to go do Uber Eats.
Every day.
But even back in the day, I remember my dad, and it wasn't just him. It's everybody on our street grew their own vegetables because they would be, giving
their garden they had. Half concrete garden. They still found a way to do
it. It was probably no bigger than this room.
Side,
But you know what? They grew every year. They would be growing their vegetables. They'd give each other stuff. But there was more emphasis on healthy back then, whereas today we've got to realise that we are being controlled.
Fully controlled,
and it's a herd thing. We're being herded in a certain direction. And, we have to realise that we can't just buy into everything. And if they can get you to stop thinking for yourself, and I think that's what we need to actually question everything. Question, why is this phone thing become so popular? Why has this now become such a way of life to where people are so addicted?
Do you know what? I was driving yesterday, and there was a woman that had pulled over to change her nappy, the baby's nappy. And there was a woman, like must be a sister or something, standing there, and she was vaping. And I just had the thought, I was like, who told everyone about vaping?
Yeah.
I've never seen an advert.
Where did it come from?
Yeah, but you see like thousands of vape shops.
All these vape shops everywhere.
Like they just funded them and just put them out.
I've never seen it advertised.
And even
ever.
They enough took over cigarettes.
Yeah, but even though you've
doing
seen
it.
articles where young people have died from it, it's not put nobody off.
But I'm like, I actually drove past her and I was like,
what are you doing?
I was like, when did everybody learn about vaping?
So but who do you think puts that out?
But this is what I'm saying, that like this is why you get conspiracy theories, because I'm like, where did this come from? I literally drove past her and I literally had a full revelation. I was like, where did this come from? Like,
of course,
one day it was like vaping wasn't here, and then literally the next day,
since lockdown. After lockdown, then we saw these things pop up.
It was before then.
Was it before?
Yeah, there's been vapors.
But it was like when, like I've not gone past one billboard. I've not seen one advert on TV.
No, but you see the
shop.
They're
off licenses. They have shops.
Person is literally. It's like every other person that I see is vaping. This thing is more deadly than cigarettes.
Yeah.
And why is people doing that?
I literally like. I mean, I'm talking like people my age, like starting vaping.
It started with e-cigarettes. I don't know if you remember the little
I remember the e-cigarettes.
Press a button, I think.
Yeah, I remember the e-cigarettes because I think people thought they could use those,
airports
and stuff like that.
But then that's obviously developed into a whole thing.
To this.
But even my friend sent me a thing on Instagram where it says, intermittent fasting now linked with heart disease. And then who said it? American Food Association. So obviously it's like, you know, the same ones that tell you eat crisps and all the nonsense, Cheerios. But it's like those people, obviously, they see certain people
getting healthy.
The more you try to deter from the crowd, it's like, hey, come back in.
Let's stray.
Listen to this. It's not good for you.
Bring it back in.
That's not good for you. Come back in. It's like, what? So how's me fasting linked with heart disease? But if I overeat, it's hard. So where's the balance?
Yeah.
So it's just they try to give you marketing and people listen to that and be like, oh yeah, I saw it's not good to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have to realize that everything that is being directed at us, there is intentionality behind it.
Of course.
And I think that's where we all need to wake up. Everything that's being forced on us, there's intentionality behind it. And who is it that's driving it? Yeah. And what is their goal? What is their motivation for us? And we need to, basically, the human beings need to start thinking. We need to start thinking that's for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that we all have to make a decision, a conscious decision, where we're going to remove ourselves from this rat race. And where that begins, we're talking about how much is too much. And I think that we all need to ask ourselves that question today. Like, how much is too much? Like, the food in my fridge, we're buying bigger fridges now. You know, if we look back to when we first used to have
the
fridges,
little fridges in the UK with that little
now
tiny
everyone's
freezer
got these
compartment.
American fridge freezers, and even then,
that's what I grew up with, that little
enough.
compartment in the
Do
fridge.
You know what I mean? And so I think we've got to ask ourselves the question, like, how much is too much? Like, you know, how much money do you need to make? At what cost is it to your family, to your children? Like, you know, I could be making like 200 grand a year, but if I never see my kids, is that cost too high? I think that we need to ask ourselves these questions, because whilst we're kind of blindly like following the mass, this generation, I'm worried for this generation. We're losing them. We've got a generation that don't know how to communicate, that are addicted to drugs, addicted to substances, addicted to pornography, addicted to violence, addicted to technology.
Try taking the phone from them.
It's an addiction. And like even with my kids, like, I hide their iPads and they don't see it till Fridays, you know, and after a while they just forget about it. You know, I saw a thing on Instagram where they decided to go screen free. I don't know about that. Like, I'm not doing that on a plane with kids, but like, they decided to go screen free, and they said it's changed their lives. And I think that think a lot of things have changed for the good in terms of the modern technology, and you know, we don't have to take horses anywhere, we can drive, whatever, but there's a lot that
we don't need.
Okay, I've got a question for you. Do you think this is the most advanced civilization there's ever been?
I think it's the most regressed civilization's ever been.
I agree with that. I feel like we've had the most
we've got the most, but we've got the least.
Most resources to be used, but I think there's very bad intentions with those resources, and it's not being used to better I think if there wasn't these higher ups that per se that are controlling certain things, if we were able to create things for the better of humans and our source of living, we could be so much more advanced than what we are if it wasn't about money and controlling. You know what I mean? There's such a darkness over this world.
It's some very greedy people.
Exactly. And it's like
they don't care who's hurt. As long as they're just not satisfied with their billions.
Yeah, so we were talking about this yesterday or the day before, that it's like, even in Egyptian times, people are like, how did they build the pyramids? I feel like there was maybe, they might not have had the resources we had, like technology-wise, but they're more advanced than us. They're smarter than us. Yeah. They came together to build certain things.
Even the architecture in the UK, like you go into any church or whatever,
these buildings are still standing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But they're like, they're phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like, we can't even make
you can't find a stone. You know, they had people who stonemasonries. They were like, they could carve anything out of stone. That you can't find that anymore. It's all molding. You know, pour mold
or 3D printed.
Yeah, we don't have that. And you know, like what we were talking about the other day. You had, like you were just mentioning, how did they build the pyramids? They can't figure that out today with all the technology. Not only did they what we pay architects major money to design something.
Yeah.
They did this with our architects
Yeah.
to the point that those pyramids are still standing today, thousands of years later, and the technology to put that thing together.
Yeah.
And to build it in such a way, it's just incredible.
The thing is,
so the
pyramids all over
mind,
the
it
world,
just
so
tells you
there
the
was a common
mind.
knowledge over certain things that
Yeah,
we obviously are so blind to seeing or
yeah.
trying to relate it to. Oh, there's not a crane heavy enough to like. There's
Well, how did they get those
there's
stones?
easier
How
ways
did you
to
get those
think,
stones
yeah.
on top of each other? They weren't these little bricks. I'm talking like
yeah,
these
tons.
huge,
And literally you can't
massive...
even put a credit card in between them. That's how precise those things are. Those
Wow.
bricks are.
I feel like there's so much that's being
Yeah.
lost, and I say
Yeah.
it to my kids
With
all
every
the time.
generation, we're losing
I think
stuff.
even like the fact that this
Yeah.
generation don't know what it is to
There's so
run
much
to the
they
toilet
don't
during
know.
ads.
Yeah.
You know, where
Just
quick,
skip
quick,
ads now.
quick, quick, it's
Oh,
coming
no, you
back
don't
on,
need to,
quick,
you
it's
just
coming back
pause.
on.
Yeah.
You
You know,
pause.
do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when
it's
that came
like-
out. Remember when Sky Plus came out when you
Yeah,
could pause
like-
it? It's like what?
Yeah.
And you know, like, oh my gosh, and like you can
Yeah.
record,
Yeah,
like
we
you
had,
can
like,
record a program.
Remember we was full
Yeah,
on
like-
screen, Sky
we
TV.
used to
Yeah, I remember
record
you
everything.
lot.
All the shows.
Yeah,
record
your
so
dad
many
would sit there,
shows.
delete.
Yeah, but
It's
that,
like-
Yeah.
compared to how it is now, it's like that's just that was a more simpler life than
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
now.
But
You know
even
what I
there's
mean?
and
so-
that's no, but I think Dominic's just hit the nail on the head.
It's
The
a
simple
simpler
life,
yeah,
like I feel
yeah.
like the simple life is the better life. Like I feel
Yeah.
like when we just strip back.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Well,
We've
there's-
lived
there's
without
one-
those things.
yeah.
So why
Lived
can we
without
not do it
There's
them.
now?
one place we go on holiday that it's probably one of our favourites, and it's probably for that simple reason. It's that simple. There's
Yeah.
no TV in the room.
Yeah.
And I know most people be mortified going on holiday. There's no television and there's no phone in the room.
Yeah.
And it's just nature.
yeah.
And it's just so peaceful. There's no sound of traffic. There's
Yeah.
no sound of the the bustle of the world, and it's just that pace.
Yeah.
And it's just you, it's nature, and it's God, and it's just such a peaceful place. You're not thinking, and in fact, during those times, you don't think about anything material.
Yeah.
It's just very laid back, and it's just lovely.
And I think we've underestimated ourselves. Like we're better than we think, and we're more well equipped than we think, and we can survive on a lot less than we've given ourselves credit for. So I would say let's go back to the simple life. Like let's go back to let's not get rid of some of those things that we all grew up with, you know, and let's introduce them to our kids.
Introduce them.
I
while
would
you
even
can,
say this,
while you
like,
can.
I would even consider taking my kids camping, and that's a big thing for me because I'm not, but that's how much
Would
I'm
you do
craving
camping with your boys? They'd
the
love
simple
that.
life.
to an
Like
extent.
get a lake.
What
Like, I'm not
extent?
just bush and I need a nice tent though.
Fishing and just
Fishing.
You know,
and
you
I feel
like,
you
I feel like
used
if
to
I
hear
lived in America, those places, you know, the places you see them
No,
go.
but
it's
you-
different.
No, there's
Yeah,
some
like, I'll go there.
amazing. There's,
Yeah.
People
there's
on the
there's actually a really nice lake here. I'll send you.
Yeah, but the weather ain't that.
It doesn't matter.
yeah, it's
But
not
But
the
it's
one.
just,
It's
it's
like-
not about the weather though. You see, that was the thing. It wasn't
Okay,
about
send
that
us the
comfort.
lake.
I will. It's
Well, let's
actually,
all go as a family.
Yeah,
Let's
it'd
go
be
camping
nice.
as
Mum.
a
I don't know
family.
about
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if you can camp
Let's
there,
go
but we can
camping.
go there.
Let's do a family camping
I think
trip.
actually your wife posted it, so
That lake there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's go. All of
yeah,
us.
Send
because
it in the family group.
Convince your
I
husband.
saved it.
Send it in the family group.
No
I will.
phones. No one's allowed to
Yeah,
take
That'd
phones.
be
that's not allowed to
lovely.
phone.
Only like cameras where you can take.
Well, if
Take
we're all
pictures.
together, who are we texting anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you want to do Instagram live and show. Yeah, we're at Lake Toho. Everywhere.
Okay,
Yeah.
post it in the family group after
I
this.
will.
Like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this view, guys.
Yeah.
Look.
But there are actually
come
some
here.
amazing places that we can go to, even as a family. You remember that time we went to that really nice beach as a family, and it was just
Yeah.
such a nice
Yeah.
day where we
Yeah.
just chilled, and it was just, you know, hanging out, and that's what I think that's where we've come away from. And this younger generation, and this is one of the things that they're now missing, is the value of family, because we have young people today and their phone is their family, their phone is everything. They will get mad at their parents, and that's a value. That's one of the most dangerous values that we're losing, and the value of family, and we need to get back to that. And I just want to encourage everyone this year, let family be your goal. Let family be something that you strive for, because we need to teach that and pass that on to the next generation.
Well, in Myron Kayla's school, they have a switch it off week.
Oh, that
I was going to say,
good.
my friend does that. He does a detox every quarter of the year. He does a month without like social media and all that stuff.
No, but like they like switch
good.
it off, like where you have like a whole evening where there's no devices, like there's no TV, there's no phone.
In their homes.
Yeah, so you have it switch it off, and you play board games, you talk, you have dinner. And I would say, like, let's try it. Like, let's have even if it's a switch it off day, where like there's one day where we don't have any devices. No one has a device. There's no iPads. There's no phones. There's no TV. Like, buy board games again. Like, I went
some people saying, but my job, I need to stay connected.
No, but you know what? When I think that the reality is, like, if it's that urgent, they will find a way to contact you. And I think that, you know, even if you don't do it for the entire day, like, you know, like have it. I mean, you don't work 7 days a week. Choose a day of the week where you can do it, like a Saturday, for example. Like, there has to be a day where we can all switch off. Do you get what I mean? And I think, you know, I'm not saying do it every Saturday, but like there must be once a month that you can say, right,
have a switch
this day we're gonna. I went to buy board games the other day. I couldn't find one shop that done them.
Really?
No.
You got to go online to
you
buy
got to go
board games.
online to buy board games
Amazon.
now. You got to go on Amazon to buy board games. That's the only place that I was able to
What about
buy board
WH
games.
Smith? Did you check those places?
WH Smith, yep. I went there, like,
I found
literally.
HomeSense.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the fact that we actually have
to,
to like now
look
say
for it.
where you used to be able to walk into
Any
Tesco
toy
and it
shop.
was literally
Yeah.
like, and they literally the shelves were
So the toy
lined with
shops
Probably
board
have
Smiths
games.
and all that.
games.
Smiths will probably
Yeah,
have
but like I'm
Wow.
saying, like Tesco used to always
Yeah,
have
it's
board
and they're so
games. They don't,
expensive
and they're
now.
very
all
expensive.
those shops that we
now.
used to get that
It's
stuff
like
from was gone. Like
No,
Woolworths.
it's a-
vintage
no-
thing now.
Innit?
But you know what, like
That's
games
crazy.
like
Collector's item.
Scrabble, Monopoly,
Yeah.
Uno. Like Uno's like £6 for
Yeah.
like Uno cards. Do you know what I mean? But you can play it for hours. Like go back to the basics, like old school things. Like spend the evening
Yeah.
like just having fun and
I think one
connecting
of our
with each
best
other.
times, you know, when as a family was actually during lockdown.
COVID, yeah.
During COVID, when
That's
we had
true.
lockdown,
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
so much family time.
Yeah, we did.
Um,
we went
we
for
were-
runs.
we were doing so
fit,
many
we
things.
Were skinny.
Yeah.
Lockdown.
Benefits of it. But we did so many things as a
Yeah.
family during that time. It probably connected more for us as a family anyway. It was great for
Yeah.
us because we bonded more and everyone got closer
Yeah.
during that time, because, you know, it was
Nothing else
just
to do.
nothing else to do.
But look
So-
what they've done for nature as well. Animals started
Yeah.
coming out
And
more.
it was the
it's like-
hottest summer we've ever had.
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was the
Because
best.
there was no fumes.
yeah.
It was
No one was driving.
blitzing. It was
It's
like
true.
40 degrees
It's
every
true.
day
We had
from
great-
May all the way through to
we had a
November.
great year
I had a tan.
weather-wise.
I had
In
a
England.
tan
The
from the UK. My kids were brown.
Yeah.
Like, so let's go back to that. Let's go back to, there has to be a point where enough is enough,
Yeah.
where we've got enough. Let's allow satisfaction, contentment to come back in.
And reintroduce family values.
Yeah.
Reintroduce
Yeah.
family times. Don't let those things die with you. Pass it on to
Yeah.
the next generation.
And if you don't know
Remember
what
you
family
had.
values look like or feel like or should be, go sit with someone that's older,
Yeah.
you know, and share,
Yeah.
get them to share with
Yeah.
you what their family values were. If you've got your grandmother that's still alive, you've got
Yeah.
your grandparents, like go sit with them. Or if you know someone else's grandparents, sit with them. And let's go back to some of those
Well,
old
one
school
of the
values.
easiest ones is families eating together.
Yeah.
That's so easy.
Yeah.
Every opportunity. I know for us, when the weather's good, everyone's over at our house
Yeah.
and we're doing barbecues, we're cooking, we're eating together. And that's a great place to start right there,
Yeah.
because everyone likes to eat.
Yeah. And
come-
switch off the TV
yeah.
while you're eating.
Put the phones away.
Yeah.
No one should be on their phone when you're
Yeah.
fellowshipping together as a family. But I think that's something you can't have enough of, right? Family.
No, I agree. I think it's just taking a step back from what we. I think human beings as a whole are very addictive creatures. In a sense,
we are naturally.
Once we start doing something, we adapt to it, and we adapt to anything really. Look at how we've throughout life, we just adapt to what our surroundings and make things work. But I think we adapt in negative ways as well, and we absorb and consume so much screen and just excess data and knowledge about just nonsense. Like, say if there was aliens or things like that, and they come to this planet and they ask us whatever, and we just got reels and TikToks, and it's like, what kind of? They probably see what society we are, just this stupid planet.
Next
like,
one.
All the knowledge they have, this is what we do. I think we can do so much more with what we have.
When you strip it back like that, it sounds really bad.
Yeah, when you think about it. But there's actually a guy I saw on Instagram who's making oil out of plastic. Some black guy. Yeah, he's discovered this way to make oil
from plastic,
like fuel out of plastic.
Okay.
And I don't think he's going to be around long because, like, he's a young guy.
Yeah, when you go to pharmaceuticals or fuel.
Yeah, all the comments are like, someone check on him. Is he still alive? Like, everyone, it's like,
everyone knows. We know.
But it's like,
the men in grey coats.
That's why I've got to respect what like France do as well, in terms of when there's something they don't agree with as a country.
Yeah.
They all stand up and they're not having it.
Yeah.
Even the farmers, they're not putting on the news.
I saw that the other
like
day. Yeah, that was very played down.
Those things will not be on the news, and they've been going for ages.
Yeah.
Like, they're putting soil on the motorways, everything. Like, they're barging through police cars. Like, they're fighting for their rights, and it's like England will never come together as a country and fight. We will suffer, pay these bills. They will put up to £100,000, and we'll find a way to pay whatever we need to pay, and just comment about us.
Well, it's like what's it, that congestion charge in London?
Yeah,
what's that all about?
It's that's what I'm saying. There's no
but
one
no
fighting.
one protests it.
People posted, "Oh, you seen this nonsense? I'm not paying that," but you do.
But you do,
and you're not. No one's fighting. Like, because there's power in strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This will probably get flagged for even saying this, but there's power in people coming together and actually fighting for, like, saying, actually, no, we're not having that.
Yeah.
We're not paying more, and you're seeing how much, like, all these
but even that, what you just said, who's watching us to flag? It's like you can't say what you want to say.
Yeah, but then
now.
you'll have a little censor thing saying if this is the guidelines of Instagram or whatever. But it's like there's so much power in unity that people don't even realize, because they've never even. Like I said about the bananas and the monkeys, they will never come together because they think that whatever consequences, they've never done it. No one's ever stood everyone together, marched down to 10 Downing Street or whatever, and actually say, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
We are the mass, you know what I mean? It's like,
bring
we need
down
to actually make a difference.
mortgage rates.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're showing us how much these water companies, electric companies are making. They're making 10 times what they made last year.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
You're making profit.
Someone's
you're acting
getting
like you're
richer.
Exactly. And they're putting it in our faces, and we're just
we're
reposting it or sending it on WhatsApp as a thread.
Yeah.
It's like they know there's no threat because people aren't united.
Yeah.
Well, this is the goal achieved.
Goal
achieved, because if you can take away the fight from people.
Well, from COVID, they saw we weren't united and saying no to that, and now it's just like, okay, we can keep stepping past the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries. Yeah.
When will it be enough?
When will it be enough?
When we say so. And I think that's the key, when we say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's for us to individually, you just want to encourage you, take your life back this year, really take your life back and stop allowing outside influence to direct you and sway you and take you down paths. Take your life back this year and say enough is enough. I'm going to be in control of my life, what my spending. If you haven't got it, don't. I used to say this, if I haven't got any money, I'm not going to go window shopping. But we got online window shopping now, and then we end up spending on credit cards and we take out store cards. If you haven't got it, don't look at it. That's the key. Don't look at it.
They'll slap you with emails, they'll slap you with it's like all these subscribe. I unsubscribe every day with these nonsense.
Unsubscribe. I think that's what, challenge for everyone. Unsubscribe from everybody that you're following.
All right, cool.
especially that a lot of people that are just making money from you just following them. That's why everyone wants you to follow them, because they're making money and you're going to go and buy what. And you see how that works, where the consumers get the popular ones to advertise their product because they know you're going to go buy it.
Because they've got this following.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people go in debt trying to live a life that's not theirs. You're in debt because you want to be someone you're not. All this fake it till you make it. Just be you.
Yeah.
What are you faking it for?
Yeah. To impress who?
You're trying to live a life that's not yours.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed our chat today, guys.
Our venting.
Our venting. But I hope it's stirred up your mind to think. Stirred up your mind to think about. This life that we're living.
Get into a place of contentment and satisfaction.
Be content.
Be content.
Yeah.
Prioritize family.
Yeah.
Prioritize what matters.
Yeah.
Prioritize what's going to really matter when all the dust settles and you're too old to do anything else.
Yeah.
What's really going to matter? It's going to be those people that God's blessed you with.
Yep. Not the Chanel bags.
Family is the most valuable asset that you have.
Yeah.
Not your car, not your house. You can lose all of those and get them back. But family is the most valuable asset that you have. Treasure your family, value your family. That's the most important thing. And you can never get enough of family. So work on that.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.